Chapter 20, The Great Gum Machine. Mr. Wonka led the party over to a gigantic machine that stood in the very center of the inventing room. It was a mountain of gleaming metal that towered high above the children and their parents. Out of the very top of it, there was sprouted hundreds and hundreds of thin glass tubes, and the glass tubes all curled downwards and came together in a bunch and hung suspended over the enormous round tube, as big as a bath. "Here we go," cried Mr. Wonka, and he pressed 3 different buttons on the side of the machine. A second later, a mighty rumble came from inside, and the whole machine began to shake most frighteningly, and steam began hissing out all over, and then suddenly the watchers noticed that runny stuff was pouring down the sides of all the hundreds of the little glass tubes, and squirting out into the great tub below. And in every single tube, the running stuff was a different color, so that all the colors of the rainbow, and many others as well, came sloshing and splashing into the tube. It was a lovely sight, and when the tube was nearly full, Mr. Wonka pressed another button, and immediately the running stuff stopped running out of the tubes, and rumbling sound disappeared, and the whizzing and whirling noise took its place. Then a giant whizzer started whizzing around the inside of the enormous tube, mixing it all up in different colored liquids, like an ice cream soda. Gradually, the mixture began to froth. It became frothier and frothier, and it turned from blue to white, to green, to brown, to yellow, then back to blue again. "Watch," said Mr. Wonka. Clip went the machine, and the whizzer stopped whizzing. And now there came a sort of sucking noise. Very quickly, all the blue frothy mixture in the huge basin was sucked back into the stomach of the machine, and there was a moment of silence. Then a few silly rumbles were heard. Then silence again. Then suddenly the machine let out a monstrous, mighty groan. At the same moment, a tiny drawer, no bigger than a drawer in a slot machine, popped out of the side of the machine, and in the drawer there lay something so small and thin and gray that everyone thought it must be a mistake. The thing looked a little like a little gray strip of cardboard. The children and their parents stared at the little gray strip lying in the drawer. "You don't mean that's all," said Mike Teavee, disgusted. "That's all?" answered Mr. Wonka, gazing proudly at the result. "Don't you know what this is?" There was a pause. Then suddenly, Violet Beauregard's goofy gum-chewing girl let out a yell of excitement. "By gum, it's gum!" she shrieked. It's a stick of chewing gum." "Right you are," cried Mr. Wonka, slapping Violet hard on the back. "It's a stick of gum. It's a stick of the most amazing and fabulous sensational gum in the world."